Alright, well welcome to part 2 of our Kickstart Binder walkthrough. We are picking up right after we finished our FAQ sheet, and we are starting with tips to help you during your Balanced Habits Kickstart. If you need to find this in your binder, it is through the Week 1 tab, in between the Week 1 tab and the Overview and Tips tab. Alright, so for tips to help you through your Balanced Habits Kickstart, we want to try to keep some clean sources of protein, so in order that can be egg whites, fish, turkey breast, chicken breast, white meat, pork, and beef. If you are not there yet, if that's a little overwhelming to you, it's okay. We can start from where you're at. You don't always have to use fresh. Sometimes you can use bottled things. For instance, minced garlic. If it's bottled, that's okay. If you don't have time to make your own hummus, absolutely feel free to buy your own hummus. I certainly would love to make my own food, but I don't have time. So you can certainly buy some things already packaged as long as they're clean. So make sure that you are reading product labels. So this might be brand new to you as well. I will teach you how to do that along the way. If you are concerned about sodium, don't worry about the recipes. They are all sodium savvy, as the sheet says. But if you have extra concerns, please let me know and we can work with that. So the Kickstart recipes are made for an entire family, so you are welcome to double or triple a batch or even make them smaller. So if you go ahead and read through some of this, it'll give you some extra tips. You do need a food scale. You do not have to finish everything on your plate, especially week 1. You might be overwhelmed with how much food you're allowed to have and might not be able to finish all of it. It's okay. Just go ahead and start with your protein source first. So we don't want to fill up on all our carbs and fats and not eat our protein. So that's going to be our first choice if you are having issues on not being able to finish your plate. However, we do need to eat all 4 meals though. That's going to be really important. So what we're doing, as I said earlier in the FAQ, is we're trying to revamp your metabolism. So I would like you to think about a small fireplace. So we don't want to stick a giant log in the fireplace and expect it to burn at a consistent rate all day. That's similar to trying to go to Denny's in the morning and eat a giant breakfast and say, okay, I'm going to burn this consistently all throughout the day. It's the same thing as if you're trying to throw, twigs in your fireplace too often. It's very tedious and it doesn't burn consistently. That would be similar to trying to snack all day. So what we're trying to do, if you find the right size log and you throw it into the fireplace and it burns for, 3 hours, we try to find a similar size log and do it again. And repeat that throughout the day, trying to get a consistent flame. That's very similar to what we're trying to do with our metabolism. We're trying to get a consistent portion size that works for our body based on your measurements and your body fat level and your current activity level and your current eating habits. We're giving you a portion size that will burn up in your body within 2 to 3 hours. So by eating all 4 meals, that helps keep your metabolism up. So like I said earlier, it's not less is better. We still want you to eat. If you're having trouble eating all your food, that's okay. Just try to eat a couple bites as long as you are eating something during your 4 meal times. Alright, so this going into our recipes is going to be our grocery list guide. Alright, so what this is an overview of the week 1 recipes. These are just ideas. These are ideas on what you can have at each meal if you're going to use all the recipes. So for meal 1, there's 3 choices. You can have the apple pie smoothie, which as it says behind is recipe A. You can do the apple walnut chunk muffins with some eggs, that's recipe B. Or you can do the bowl of cereal and eggs, which is recipe C. You'll wait 4 hours later, as it says, for meal 2. For meal 2, you can have a perfect winter jar salad or some chicken salad wrap. And it goes on and on from there. Now, you are absolutely, you can absolutely have, say you want to have the simple flank steak with roasted Brussels sprouts. If you want to have that for breakfast, that's fine. Go ahead and have that for breakfast. If you want to have the bowl of cereal and eggs for meal 1 and meal 3, that's perfectly fine. These are just ideas to help you figure out how you can spread out your recipes throughout the day. So at the bottom, we have some week 1 menu notes. So this just gives you a little extra feel for what breakfast, lunch, the snack, and the dinner is going to be like. You will always have 1 vegetarian option for your 4th meal, so your dinner of the day. You don't have to use it, but it's just in there for a little variety. So go ahead and skip down. This is going to be our week 1 grocery list. All right, so this is where it gets a little confusing, and I'm going to try to be as simple as possible. So we have it broken up into our proteins, our fats, our produce, breads and grains, miscellaneous dairy, and seasonings. Now, as you can tell, there's a lot of stuff on here. You do not have to buy all of these at once. This is just to help you figure out what you need for each recipe. For example, and we'll go over this in a second, if you would like to use recipe A, which is going to be the next page, and you might have you should have a different version binder, so you won't have this recipe. For example, in this binder, we had an apple pie smoothie was our recipe A. All right, so as it lists our ingredients, our vanilla protein powder, we have Greek yogurt, almond milk, apple, banana, and some almonds and some spices. If we want to make this recipe, but we also want to make a few other recipes, it's very hard to write all those down and have to put it in one place. If you just flip back to your grocery list, we can say, all right, so recipe A, we have our vanilla protein powder. We'll need to pick that up. We also have an A next to sliced raw almonds. We have an A next to bananas. And we have an A next to our almond milk. All right, and then we have some sweetener packets if you'd like those, and some non-fat Greek yogurt. All right, so if you just look at each ingredient and see what letter it has behind, that will tell you exactly what you need for each recipe. All right, at the bottom we have an abbreviation key that you can read. The only one I want to point out that's highlighted on your screen is EVU. So that is extra virgin olive oil. A lot of people, that's my most asked question, is what is EVU? So that's your olive oil. So skipping down to our actual recipe again, we have our apple pie smoothie. So up here we have our ingredients that we can have, and then we have the directions on how to put them together. Luckily this one is pretty simple. It's just a smoothie, so you're going to blend them all together. Now it gets down to our portion size. So we haven't gone over your units yet, which we will, but this is how you decide on how many ingredients you'll have and what you're going to consume by your portion size. So on your unit sheet, which we will go over in a second, say you have a 4-unit meal, then you know exactly what to make up this apple pie smoothie, all right? So a 4-unit meal is going to be a lot more than if someone had a 2-unit meal, okay? So that'll define how much you can have per recipe. And this is nice for families too, because you can make an entire batch. You can make a huge batch for your family. Say you triple or quadruple all of these ingredients, make them together, but you know exactly how much you can have. All right? So we'll skip down. This will be your unit sheet. Now I do understand that this is an older version, so your unit sheet might look a little bit different, but it is the same basic steps. So at the top, you'll have your Kickstart Week 1 portion sheet. It should have your name, and then in parentheses, it will have how many units you have per day. So the word unit, all that means is portion size. So if any of you have done Weight Watchers, they have points. I know the Zone system or the Zone diet has blocks. There's different words for it. This is just Balanced Habits' word for portion is unit. So if you look at your sheet and it says you have 13 units per day, and each of you are going to have a different number. Some of you might have 9, some of you might have 11, some of you might have 18, some of you might have 22. It's totally depends on your measurements, and it's unique to you. But for that larger number, we're going to split that up into either 4 meals a day or 5 meals a day. All right? So if you look down, there are larger numbers on the right side of your sheet, and they should be in circles. For the most of you, or the majority of you, you will have 4 meals per day. All right? So for example, if I have 10 units for the day, I might have a circle at meal 1 that says the number 2, and then meal 1, I might have the circle 2, that means 2 units. And then meal 2, I will have a circle 3, so I'll have a 3-unit meal there. Meal 3, I'll have a 2 in a circle, and then meal 4, I'll have a 3 again. So all of those numbers added up are going to be 10. All right? So depending on what number you have, if you just look down on the right side, it will add up to that full number. Okay? So If you read through meal 1, it will tell you the units that you can have of one of these options, and that's just for the recipes, all right? It's just giving you some extra guidance on what you can use the recipes for. For example, this one says make a 3-unit portion for one option, and that could be coconut mango magic, or sunshine muffin and eggs, or a fresh fruit bowl and yogurt, all right? So it looks a little bit different on this screen. Don't worry about anything in the middle here. We're just talking about this is going to be your total units, and I understand your sheet looks different. And then this will be the main numbers on the right. Will tell you how many units you have broken down per meal, okay? If you have 5 numbers down the right side of your sheet, that's okay. All that means is you're going to have 5 meals a day, and you're going to split those up into 3-hour increments, okay? So just to clarify that, if you have 4 numbers down the side, you will have 4 meals a day, 4 hours apart. If you have 5 meals a day, you'll have them 3 hours apart, all right? So just by looking at your unit sheet, this is all we need to focus on right now is the number of your units. You'll probably only have to reference this page maybe the first 2 or 3 days, and after that you'll have it memorized. You'll know your units. All right, so to make this a little more simple, we're going to hop down at the bottom of this sheet. On the bottom of your sheet, not on the screen, it'll say how much water you should have between every meal. It's usually about 16 ounces. And then it'll give you your cardio and strength training recommendations. So we'll tell you how many days per week and how many minutes of cardio that you'll need. Don't worry about your heart rate just yet. I know it's a little overwhelming. If you get to about week 2 or 3 and you're more comfortable with this program and you're actually checking your heart rate, then we can look at trying to get about 65 to 70% of your max heart rate. That's going to help you burn fat the most. If you're just trying to work on getting active and getting movement in, don't worry about your heart rate just yet. And then at the bottom it'll say however many days with however many minutes of strength training that you enjoy doing. If you are working out at Pursuit Fitness as a member, our group training classes are going to be 1 hour of strength training. If you are coming to the Kickstart cardio classes, those are going to be about 45 minutes to an hour of cardio. All right, and that says that at the bottom of your sheets. Don't forget about those. And we'll go over those in our calendars in your binder. All right, so go ahead and skip your page to Diabetes Bedtime Snack. So this is just for those of you that either are diabetic or pre-diabetic. We have given you 5 meals a day, so we just want to add in that extra 2-unit meal right before you go to bed to help keep your blood sugar level throughout the night. All right, and that will tell you some different options to choose from. We would like you to choose from that specific chart so you have something high in protein as well. All right, so moving on, this is our pack and go. So this is going to be the simplest sheet that you will probably refer to the most. So if we want to go up, all right, I'm going to switch this around for you a little bit. We're going to go back up to our unit sheet. So on the screen, this one says I have 11 units. So I can have a 3-unit meal, a 3-unit meal, a 2-unit meal, and a 3-unit meal. So I'm going to go down to my pack and go. I'm going to say, all right, since I have 3 units in one meal, this means I can have 1 unit of protein, 1 unit of carbs, and 1 unit of fat. So it's nice. There's a nice little column under each one that explains what is in each macronutrient. All right, so if I have a 3-unit meal, I'm going to pick 3 from protein, I'm going to pick 3 from carbohydrates, and I'm going to pick 3 from fat. Okay, so for example, and I'm just going to go right on across the line. So I can have 3 of these, so I'm going to have 3 out of 3, so I'm going to have 1 cup of Greek yogurt, and then I'm going to have a sandwich-sized Ziploc bag of fresh veggies. I'm going to have 3 of those. And then I'm going to have 3 teaspoons of canola mayonnaise. Now, that's a disgusting meal, and I'd never tell you to eat that. I'm just trying to make this simple straight across the board. You're also welcome to switch these up. And you can pick some tofu, hummus, and edamame for each 3 choices of protein. And then you can have a cup of plain beans, a slice of flourless bread, and half cup of grapes. We can finish that off with 2 shelled peanuts, a tablespoon of chia seeds, and 10 olives. All right, so go ahead and click on your next link for part 3. and I will go more in depth on this pack and go sheet for you.